The John Mayer SE Silver Sky is a great guitar. For a reasonable $849, you get all three boxes checked of what you should look for in a good guitar. It feels good, it sounds good, and it looks pretty rad if you ask me. But let's acknowledge the obvious here. It's supposed to be a Stratocaster. It's obvious where the inspiration comes for this body shape. And did you know for $849 you can get an actual Stratocaster? Introducing the Player Series Stratocaster from Fender. Now, this and the Silver Sky have a lot of features that make them very similar, but also have a lot of features that make them different. So let's compare them today, shall we? Let's see what they each have to offer, and I'll give you my take on what I think is the best option for you. Let's go. Both guitars are very similar to one another. Let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. Both of these are a Stratocaster body shape. It's pretty obvious that Paul Reed Smith got inspiration from the Fender Stratocaster when making this design. I don't blame him, with a name like John Mayer, and John Mayer's been playing Stratocasters his whole career, it's only right that they make something that he's played for so long. And to that note, every guitar brand kind of has a Stratocaster clone out there. So this is no cardinal sin of guitar building. It's bound to happen. And aside from the body shape, they still have a lot of things in common. Both guitars have 3 single coil pickups, a 5-way switch, a volume pot and 2 tone pots, and are both good sounding guitars. Another thing worth mentioning is that both of these guitars are the same price. They both retail for $849, which is a very reasonable value. Under $1,000, you're getting a very iconic guitar in your repertoire. Now, how are they different? Let's start with the SE Silver Sky. General specs: we have a poplar wood body with a maple neck and fingerboard. The lower cutaway of the guitar has a bevel in it, so you're getting a little bit easier access to the upper frets, which I think is a really nice and stylish touch. The single coil pickups in this guitar are the 635 JMS single coils, so it's more of a proprietary version of the John Mayer signature single coils. They have a really nice low end to them, very rich. They kind of bark and sing when you're playing with them. Very nice sound. If you're looking to chase John Mayer's tone, it's a great option. Other differences include a Paul Reed Smith headstock, as you would expect, and the Paul Reed Smith bird inlays, and you have a different neck plate on the back that has John Mayer's signature on it. So overall, pretty cool guitar for $850. And I should mention that this comes with a gig bag, where the Fender Player Series does not. So if having a case with your guitar is important to you, that's a very big consideration to take into account. Now we move on to the Player Series Stratocaster from Fender. Now this is going to be your tried and true Fender Stratocaster formula. We have a solid alder body with a maple neck and Pau-Ferro fingerboard. The single coils in this one are going to be Fender Player Series single coil pickups, so if you're looking to get just that classic Stratocaster sound, you're going to get it with this. Other differences worth mentioning is that the Fender Stratocaster has a 9.5-inch fretboard radius, whereas the Silver Sky has an 8.5 fretboard radius. So that kind of plays a difference in the overall feel of the guitar. And lastly, the headstock on the Fender Strat has string trees, whereas the Silver Sky has a different break angle on the headstock, so it doesn't need them. So, like I said, there's a lot of similarities, there's a lot of differences, but how do they sound compared to one another? Let's do a quick sound test just so we can hear the pickups through an amplifier, and then we'll kind of make some final calls from there. Here we go. Both guitars sound pretty good, don't they? I thought so. In my opinions, I thought the Silver Sky had a lot darker of a tone compared to the Stratocaster. If I was going to chase John Mayer's tone for the rest of my life, I'd probably lean on the Silver Sky. But at the same time, the prime era of John Mayer, he was playing a Stratocaster. This sounded a lot more bright and chimey, so that's kind of player preference at that point. If you want something a little more defined and that'll cut the mix a little, maybe you'd lean on the Fender. If you want to get something a little more authentic towards John's tone, maybe lean on the Silver Sky. Both are great sounding guitars. As far as feel goes, I noticed subtle differences. I seem to like the width of the neck on the Silver Sky a little bit better, but I like the overall feel of the wood on the Fender a little bit better. So there's going to be a lot of things to consider when you're shopping for one of these guitars. Make sure you hold them in your hand for a little bit before you play them to make sure it's a good fit. The guitar should really be an extension of your body when you're playing. So I think feel is literally the most important thing you can consider when buying a new guitar. And I will say this because value does matter. All Paul Reed Smith SE models until the end of 2023 have been marked down 20%. So that all of a sudden creates a lot more value towards the Silver Sky. But really at the end of it, you should try both. You might prefer one over the other. Maybe you've played both of these before. Which did you think were better? Which sounded better? Which felt better? Leave us a comment below and let us know what you thought. We appreciate your input. Well, there you have it. The Paul Reed Smith SE Silver Sky and the Fender Player Series Stratocaster. Both awesome guitars for their value. So thank you for watching this comparison video. I'm Vince with Haggerty's Music, and we'll see you next time.